On today's episode, we're going to explore the principles of success. We're going to be highlighting a very successful business owner that had a very simple, humble upbringing and has now been featured on the Inc. 5000 list 2 separate times. He's been featured on Grant Cardone's Power Players. He's been featured in HuffPost, Forbes, and has built an incredible business around collaboration and doing things maybe the old school way. And again, today's episode, we're going to talk exactly about what that is and how you can embrace the principles, the success principles that will help you to also build a successful business.
Nice to.
So the big question is this: how do those of us in the real estate industry who have crazy amounts of ambition, how do we think bigger than the building of our own empires? How do we create success and significance, income and impact? My name is Justin Stoddard. This is my co-host, Stephanie Peck. And together, we bring you the Think Bigger. All right, welcome back, Stephanie, my lovely co-host. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I am doing great. And I'm very excited to hear from someone in an industry outside of real estate that real estate agents collaborate with a lot. So this is going to be great.
Yes. I'm feeling the same way. And I had a conversation with Steve. By the way, welcome, Steve. Excited to have you here.
Good to be here. I liked your little intro, and I saw a couple. I like Glenda Baker. I saw Jay Pompazon. You had some heavy hitters there. So I'm honored to be in such presence.
Very kind of you, Steve. You were brought in front of me as being a potential guest on the show, and I had a conversation, and immediately I was like, I like this guy. He's just a simple guy, hardworking guy who's built a great business. And I think there are many people who are in our audience today, Steve, who maybe feel like they didn't have, the family tree of success, right? They didn't come from money. They didn't have all of these advantages that other people have. And as I listened to your story, as told on the Power Players, you had a very simple upbringing, right? 5 kids in the family, you're in the middle, and your dad got up every day and went to a construction site in New York, and you didn't really have some of the advantages, these Ivy League backgrounds that many other people have, yet you've done some incredible things. So for everybody listening here today, I want you to think of yourself as Steve, right? As probably some disadvantage in some way. And Steve's going to walk us through some principles that he embodies that has helped him to build an incredible life and, an incredible business. So how does that sound, Steve?
That sounds good, Justin. Ready to roll.
All right. You talk about having, these principles that have really helped you to achieve. For example, no excuses. Make no excuses. Let's talk about that one. I think both you and Stephanie can speak to that because you both have built incredible businesses. What does that mean to you when you say the word no excuses?
So when I get this asked a lot on podcasts, and I think back when I used to go work with my dad in construction in New York City. He wasn't a business owner. He was a union construction worker in New York City, and I would work there Christmas vacations when I was home from college. And I would always notice in New York City, there's no excuses, like snow, rain, cold, traffic, like the job has to get done, right? So there was no excuses. And I just carried that over into the residential field and the landscape, because I find in the residential market, it's a little different than commercial. Everybody has an excuse. It takes forever to get things done. It's just painful. So I just carried that over into my business. And really, nobody wants to hear your stories. Really, I'm sorry, but they don't. They just want to know, when's it going to be done, how much it's going to cost, and let's go. Make sure it's done right. That's kind of we deal with in New York. It's a little different than some of the other places in America, but it's pretty cutthroat here.
Stephanie, do you hear excuses from day to day, and how refreshing is it to hear Steve's perspective?
Well, I'll back up and say I think that owning a business in New York has probably got to be the toughest thing that anyone can do. And maybe I'm naive to the area, but a landscape business in New York sounds incredibly tough. So I imagine you have challenges coming your way all day, every day. And that no excuses mentality just takes you to a place of, all right, I'm a problem solver. How can I solve this problem and do good for the client, do good for my employees, do good for the community, and not let all of the reasons why this is hard get in my way? Is that
That's correct,
Let's get them
Stephanie. You
through.
pretty much summed it up, Stephanie. That's it.
There's no mystery why the two of you have built great businesses, right? Like, it doesn't matter what the circumstances are. It's just that there's a job that's got to be done, right? And it's like, we just have to do it. We have to pay the price. That's one of the other principles that you embody, right? Is keeping your promises. How do you do that in a world where there's a lot of uncertainty, right? Like, there's all of a sudden a massive snowstorm that's coming, right? You talked about this concept of like, don't make excuses, which the other side of that is to keep your promises. So walk us through maybe what you do from both a mindset standpoint as well as from an operational standpoint to be sure that you don't make promises you can't keep, right? Because that's the other side of it.
So I don't know how Stephanie feels, but like, do some of your agents come up to you? Maybe we'll do this a little politically correct, but like, do people give you like the whole story before they give you an answer? Like, they give you the whole backstory? Well, I called, I left a message and I emailed. You got to like, give me the short version, right? Like, you got to get to the short version. And so the mindset is the clients are hiring you. You have to be the guy or the girl. It's like, you cannot blame on, the guy didn't show up. The delay was delivered. The deliveries were delayed. Like, nobody cares. They don't care. I mean, they care in a way, but they don't care about your nonsense stuff, right? You just have to say, I have it handled. And you have to instill confidence, right? They have to trust you, and you have to come off as credible. You can't just give them lip service. You have to say what you're going to do, mean what you do, and just get it done. I don't know how else to put that. Like, there's no long version to it. It's that simple.
It really is that simple. And I love, that's probably the New Yorker in you. I love the straight to the point. In real estate, yes, we do deal with that because we're helping people through a very emotional time. And real estate agents tend to thrive in that space and kind of take on the emotions of their clients or of the transaction. And you're exactly right with a lot of backstory, a lot of, well, they had this going on and this was going on, and that's why we're negotiating this way. But we know that, negotiations are about facts and data. You've got to take the emotional part out of it because that doesn't serve anybody. It actually completely takes you off track from where you're trying to go.
I can't agree more. Whether it's landscaping or real estate, like, no, so I guess we can give the short version. Nobody wants to hear your long story. Like, they don't. You can maybe paraphrase it a little bit better than I could, but like, I don't care. I only care about my jobs, my clients. Like, I say to my people, just give me the short version because they'll know what that means. Because avoid all the backstory, right? So it's kind of cool. We're kind of in the same business, but just different products, right? Like, just moving the same. It doesn't matter what business. People are people, I think, right? People are people, and they're gonna kvetch about certain things. So it's pretty
at
funny.
the end of the day, we're all in the people business because we're all serving a human being in some way. And whether that is your customer, your referral partner, your employees, your business partners, we're all in the people business because we're serving a human being. That's
I know, but how do you handle, like, from your own head, right? Like, if I have 30 people, there's some days where I can take it and some days I just can't. The patience is just, I just can't. I try to like meditate. I got to meditate the breathing, but some days it's just like, you have to try to keep it in control, right? You have to stay in control. You can't get emotional. I mean, it's the whole thing about being an owner, being a boss. That's a whole nother topic here, right? That's the loneliness of being an entrepreneur and the loneliness of owning your own business. And nobody cares about me either. Same thing. They don't care. So it's the same thing. What do you think, Justin? How are you taking it all? I see you really pondering over here.
I've always admired and appreciated Stephanie because I never have to guess what she's thinking, and I feel like there's a little bit of New Yorker.
She's thinking the same. She's thinking the same thing I'm thinking, but she's keeping it toned down. She's like,
it's refreshing. I'll tell you what. That I think again, our society has been pandering to too much, right? To give maybe people too much benefit of the doubt, and as a result, their standards have decreased lower and lower and lower because we've expected more. Tony Robbins says that your standards are what you're willing to put up with. And frankly, I think we put up with too much. And it's not out of a lack of compassion. I think it's actually the contrary. It's that people have a lot more potential to be better at what they do, to deliver more for themselves and for their families and for their clients. But because the expectation is so low, people underperform. And they wonder why they're frustrated and not happy with their job. If you really want to be happy with what you do, actually go kill it. Go succeed. And how do you do that? It's the principles that you both are teaching us today, which is stop making up crap stories, stop putting up with other people's crap stories, have a standard, and hold people to it. And watch what happens. People will start to rise to that level, or they'll fall out and they'll go look for some easier path. And in the process, you'll attract clients that actually are looking for results, right? Not for someone who's going to give a bunch of excuses. So that's what I've been pondering over here, Steve.
I'm sure Stephanie runs into the same stuff. Like, people are just afraid to make a decision. The agents have to always feel like get validation from you. I said, should I do this? You're going to help them out a little bit, and then you got to let them fly. I tell them, just go do something, even if it's wrong. Just do something. Like, do something, do some action. I don't care if it's wrong. I'll take the hit on it. You're learning, you're new. I get it, but you have to let them be on their own. They have to think outside the box. Like, if I'm buying a house, help me. Don't show me the kitchen and the bathroom. And you know what I'm saying? Like, don't give me that. Tell me why this house is going to be my home. Like, why am I going to be emotionally attached to this home? I don't need you to show me where the bathroom is in the bedroom. I don't know. I'm not a realtor, but right? Like, well, this is the bathroom. This is it. Like, tell me why I'm going to really love this home. That's what I'm freaking out about, because I'm moving out of one place and moving to another, and I'm scared shitless, basically. Right? You run into that. Like, it's all new. I got to meet new neighbors. I got to, it's a whole new thing. The kids, it's very emotional, I'm sure.
Yes. And to the managing the emotions and the no excuses, if we want to touch on that again, the best way to do that is remove yourself from the equation. When you are serving your customer or serving your client, what you think is important is not important. Remove yourself from the equation, remove your emotions, remove your needs for a commission, remove the fact that you're missing your kid's soccer game for this appointment. You have to remove all of that from the equation and say, I'm here for this person in this moment, and what is most important to them.
That's it.
And focus on that. Do not tell them what else you have going on in life. Do not tell them what the seller has going on when you're showing a home. Keep it to what's important to them.
Do you find that a problem? Like, people, I don't know. People don't get that I'd be a terrible realtor, because I would just tell them like it is. Like, I don't understand. I don't know. I don't care. I need to buy a home, and I don't need to hear about you got to leave to go to your kid's soccer game. I'm sorry. Like, cutthroat.
I want to sell a house to Steve.
Right.
I'm going to get my New York license
I would just do it very quickly. I would very quickly. That's it. But I carry that over into my landscaping, because now when I do the same thing, when I go into a client's home, I have to focus solely on them, their needs, because I'm about to dig an 8-foot hole in your backyard and disrupt your whole backyard for 4 months. And you're going to pay me $500,000, and you got to trust me that I'm going to do a job. That's pretty emotional, right? So you have to build up a level of trust. And then once you get that trust, then they're asking you for realtors and doctors. And now you're in their circle now. I think that's more important. Once you get into that inner circle, that develops more of a trust, and you don't have to do SEO, Facebook ads, any of that nonsense. That's just the way I've been doing it.
I want to hit on one point that you said there, and then I want to segue right into what you're saying here, Steve. So, Stephanie, you pointed out this concept of what client service really is, which let's contradict that from what excuses really are, right? The one where customer service is really just being very selfless and being there for the client, right? Whereas the opposite of people like showing up with our excuses and yada, yada, that's selfish, right? That's like, this is how this is all impacting me. This is how this needs to go because of me. So really, I hear a common theme here. If you want to be great at serving your client, forget yourself and go to work, right? Forget what matters to you and take care of that client. So, I mean, huge aha for hopefully everybody that's listening here today. Two incredible professionals at the height of their respective industries, and that's the advice they're telling you. So, like, forget yourself and go to work. So, let's go into this concept of collaboration, Steve, because you're right. The real estate industry has really, in large degree, moved itself into a cold market lead generation effort, right? Where they've maybe abandoned or have forgotten or have kind of diminished some of the principles that has helped both you and Stephanie create the kind of businesses that you have, right? You're actually holding my book. In fact, hold that up for us. That was really fun to see on the other side of the camera.
There you go.
Right. The principles that we embody, it sounds like all three of us, right, are actually serving the client at a high level and creating strategic partnerships with other professionals, right? Because like you were saying, Steve, and let's go into that a little bit more, is that when you're there serving somebody in landscape design, helping them spend a bunch of money on beautifying their backyard, there's other people that they're going to need, right? There's other people that are going to follow you. How important is it, or how important has it been for you to build this inner circle, this network around you of other professionals to whom you can refer?
I mean, again, I've been doing this a long time, so I know a lot of people, right? So it's been critical. I think Stephanie, next time we're on this podcast, she's going to have a big sign made up in the back and say, "They don't care," meaning they don't care about your personal problems. Just get it done. Just kidding, but not really. I mean, it's paramount, right? Like, they're coming to you for everything. It's everything. When I take on the project, I take it very personal. That's the only way to do it. You got to take it on like it's the only thing that matters. They don't care. I'll email them at like 5:00 in the morning, 4:45. Big tip right there. Always. They wow, the guy's thinking of me at 5:00 in the morning. I'm telling you, that's got me so much work. So much work. I don't know. Wow, the guy's thinking of, like, who gets up at 5:00 and thinks about me on my job? Like, that means they're the most important person right now. So that means a lot. That's been a huge tip. Made a lot of money off of that little tip right there.
I really love that.
I can't get up late. Yeah.
Your customer, they're waking up. First thing they're thinking about is
their
what's
project,
going on?
their
What's
house.
that big hole in my backyard, and when is it going to be done?
When's the seller going to call me? When am I going to look at that? And it's like, boom, they wake up, they check their email. You're right there. Huge.
I love that. Just that little thing that you can do to set yourself apart. And you know what? Let's leverage technology. I don't need to wake up at 4:45 to send the email. I can schedule it.
Oh, come on, get up. Schedule.
Oh, that's super smart. That's a nice little trick as well. Both of you. So back to this concept of collaboration, Steve, how often do you refer other professionals? Obviously, you've got subcontractors that work on your projects, right? So they're kind of built into your offering. But what have you found it to be pretty natural for you to refer other professionals outside of?
It happens all the time. I just got a call this morning. They live out in Montauk, out in Long Island, and they needed. I'm like, yeah, I can get some guys, because they want to pick up the phone, call Griggs. That's the motto. Call Griggs. He has a guy for everything, right? My mother-in-law makes fun of me. I have a guy for everything. You just have a guy. Who do you recommend? This is an awning guy. You just got to build up that. But it's got to be very careful too. Like, you can't, I don't know. It's like when you refer the electrician, oh, your guy didn't show up. Now he's my guy. You know what I'm saying? You got to be very careful who you recommend, because it's your guy. It's your, right, Stephanie? You have to, like,
yes.
If they drop the ball, then it's your guy. Oh, forget it. It's like,
one thing I've been saying to separate that a little bit, and let me know what you think of this. Instead of saying this is my guy, that basically puts that on me. I've been referring and saying this is someone that other clients of mine have had a good experience with. What do you think of that?
It's still your contact.
I know. You're still
gonna hear about it. You're still gonna hear about it. I called your guy. He's still gonna be your guy. Never call me back. But I understand what you're saying. Just, hey, we've used them in the past. It's worked for us. here's two names, 2 or 3
Mhm.
names is even better because they can just pick and choose. But they usually
Yeah.
like me to kind of handle the whole project when we're on the side. But are you talking about just referral for real estate people? I mean, it's got to be huge having that Rolodex of people you can call and contact. I think that's worth more than the listing.
Well, it absolutely is. That's how a lot of realtors want to say, I'm your realtor for life or lifetime relationship. And I look at it like if people are only moving on an average of every 7 to 10 years, you only need me every 7 to 10 years. How do I make sure that you see me valuable every day between that next 7 years that you need to make a move? And one thing that you said, a word that really stood out to me, was trust. And you said you're building trust, and the things that you do in your business to build trust with that client that then makes them say you're great. So who else do you
Yeah.
know that is great? Is just very natural. And what I have been working on, with my team and in my business, is not just trust but confidence. And I think that there's a difference there, that someone can trust you because you're a likable person. But what you're saying, Steve, in everything that you say with your no excuses and your get to work, is you're building confidence that they know that you are an expert in your field. They know that you are someone that they can count on. They are confident in your abilities. That's what puts them in a position to want to know who else that is like you that they can also be working with.
Yeah, it's also like the higher up the ladder they are, um, they like to hear the truth instead of just being, oh, just agreeing with them. If I don't like it, I'm going to tell you I don't like. I did, and I'll give you the reason why. Right? Like they like that truth, right? It's
Mhm.
also being trust is truth, right? So it's like telling your best friend something that it hurts, but you got to tell them anyway. You tell that to the same thing with the clients, right? You can't be afraid to speak up because you're the professional. You know better. Otherwise, they can just call somebody else and buy. They can go online and buy a house, right?
Right.
So the first step is they'll look online. They'll get a sense of it. Then they'll call the realtor. They don't call the realtor first. They kind of get a sense, right? They kind of
Mhm.
feel it out, and then they'll call you.
Yeah, great feedback.
Cutthroat business, right? What do you think, Justin?
Yeah, I think, one tip I want to share with everybody about this concept of professional referrals. Keep in mind that that's the focus of almost my entire career, because I believe that that's what consumers want. When somebody says like call Griggs, it's because they trust that Steve's going to have an answer for them, right? When someone reaches out to Stephanie to say, "Hey, who do you know?" That's actually how the consumer prefers to work. And unfortunately, technology has been built today to separate and not accentuate that reality, that that's what clients want. They want to go from one great professional to the next, right? And so, how do we then facilitate that more? I think one of the ways that really helps this process, for a tip, everybody listening, is don't just give someone a card or say, "Hey, call this guy." Actually do a 3-way text with you on that thread. Now, I know that takes some additional ownership of that person, but also creates some additional accountability. Like, this wasn't just some random person that called me out of the blue, right? Not knowing how they got to you, right? But when there's a 3-way text that goes out, all of a sudden they prioritize that particular client at the same level they prioritize you, right? So I think it's a way to give your clients a better experience, to ask for more accountability, and there is more ownership there. But to the tune of what we're talking about today, I think that's the recipe of success: is more ownership, not less.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Because I just thought of something. That's the way I do it. I'll just text
Mhm.
them, and I'll text them, say, "Hey, so
Yep.
and so, do me a favor. You don't need to." And sometimes they keep me on the text. You don't need to keep me on the text. Just you guys can
Yeah.
keep me out of this and connect, and it's good. I don't know. I just think that the personal touch
Yeah.
is so much better, and it's like if the realtors or whoever just get more in tune with that, I think it's easy. Get out
Yeah.
and meet people more. Don't just hide behind the computer and send emails. You got to get out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
Mhm.
Well, this has been super insightful, Steve. Really have enjoyed your just raw, authentic recipe for success, right? The principles of success. Anything you want to add, either of you, before we wrap up today? Any final words?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if I'm a new, I got a couple kids that are young and they're just getting their first jobs and all. I just try to teach them the same thing. Like look busy. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't stand around. Look, find something to do. Like, don't stand there. Well, what do you need me to do? Like, you got to take the initiative because they're busy. The bosses are busy. They don't have time to hold your hand. You got to, always take initiative and take action, right? And if you're a realtor, I mean, I see the realtors, go to the open houses and all, but I don't know. Like, they still do open houses, Stephanie? Like, my neighbor's a realtor. Like, where are you going to an open house? You got to sit there from 12 to 5. Like, I don't know. Like, make it fun.
I love doing open houses, and on Saturday had a very successful open house. So yes, it is still working because you make it fun, because you make it about that person. That
make it about the person, right?
Yeah. And to your point, work generates more work in a good way.
Yes.
So for a real estate agent, when people see you out there working, that will generate their confidence in you. Mm-hmm. That's where they say, this person really is an expert in the industry. This person was in a home that is the type of home that I'm looking for. That's how they make that connection with you. So if you're a real estate agent that isn't sure what to do today, the easiest thing you can do is go out and tour some homes and let people know that that's what you're doing.
So collaborations, we spoke briefly about collaboration. I'm trying to hooking up with a high-end audio-visual guy, right? I don't ask him, do you have any work for me? That's the stupidest thing you can say. You try to help him. I try to get him a couple of jobs, and now he feels obligated to you, right? Don't ask what you can give first and then receive, right? You've heard that before, right? Yeah. Help somebody else, and then it always comes back. Always comes back.
I love it, Steve. It's no wonder you're successful. Stephanie, same to you. No wonder you're both extremely successful. These simple principles that really, to many people, they almost seem silly. They're so small, right? Like it's not a big deviation from what most people do, but it matters. It's what clients actually want and why they're willing to trust you and have complete confidence in you, both in hiring you as well as in asking for your approval or your recommendation on other professionals. All of this stuff adds up, stacks up on top of each other, and gives you dominance in your marketplace, as both of you have done. Steve, tell us really quickly, how do people find you? What part of the country? I know you're New York.
I'm in New York, outside of New York City. Actually, we work in the suburbs mainly, but some jobs in New York City. Most people that live outside work in New York City. You can find me at Instagram at Steve Griggs Design, the website, stevegrigsdesign.com.
Love it.
That's all we got, man. It's been great here.
I love it. It's been super fun to get to know you. And again, for anybody that's interested in connecting with somebody great in that area, you know where to go to find Steve. If you're interested in having your professional referrals go from sporadic to automatic, reach out to us at proinsight.com. And if you're looking for a great, amazing, the best real estate agent in the Oregon area, Stephanie Peck, Peck's Realty Group. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. So appreciative of not just our guests today, but our audience. And we look forward to helping you continue to go think bigger. Thanks, everybody. Talk soon.
Thank you.
Before you go, we've got one more invitation for you. We all know that listening to a podcast is not enough to help you to become a big thinker and high achiever. We must take action. So the very first step, think about one lesson learned from this podcast that you'd like to apply, and send it to us in the form of a direct message.